Let's make some Dynasty fantasy football trades. Do it live.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios, it's the Dynasty Fantasy Football Show.
This one coming in hot from Scott, Bucky, and Jamar Chase versus Nabers and Jeanty. Now, this one, let's go to the poker board. And on that note, we have to put on the poker shades, shall we? Honestly, which hand is better in Dynasty? I'm probably going to say, let's take Nabers and Chase and kind of pull them to the middle and just argue that this is pretty close to even when we're talking about long-term value. Do I like Jamar more? Yeah, I do. He's got a quarterback. He's got an offense. He's got Triple Crown season 2024 that we're coming off of. So, yeah, at the end of the day, you got to like Chase more than Nabers. But I think one could make an argument that they think Nabers becomes the Jamar Chase in 2025 and beyond. And then we're in here having a different conversation. But right now, I'm going to nod toward Jamar. So really, it comes down to Bucky, who I love. You guys know how much I love Bucky, but Jeanty is arguably the number one overall player. Bucky, while we all agree in redraft, he's worth a second round pick, mid-second round pick, maybe even early second round pick. In Dynasty, probably very similar value. I don't think he climbs into round one. Jeanty could be the number one overall player. In a way, you almost would want to argue, even though it's a cross position, let's argue Jeanty versus Jamar Chase, and it's a pretty damn even conversation. And Nabers does outperform Bucky in trade evaluation. So at the end of the day, as much as I love Bucky, and I think he's a top 15 overall player in Dynasty and redraft, Jeanty's number one potentially. Not necessarily one, but could be one. And Nabers would be a player that you could easily rank, I think, inside the top mother freaking, I don't know, 5 overall, 4 overall, 3 overall. You can draft Nabers as the Dynasty wide receiver 1, and I wouldn't feel any weird way at all. I'm going to put the winning chip on this side of the table, and we're going to say this hand wins the day. Second question of the day comes from an IG DM from a guy named Freddie. How can I trade Barkley away, Smitty, in Dynasty? I get this one every damn day. Hence why I just wrote it right there, because I got like 15 people asking me this question. Hard to know what you can get from Barkley because I don't know your league. Your league might be very anti 25-plus-year-old players, or it might not be that big of a deal to trade them. So really, it's going to be some trial and error as you go through some of these suggestions I have. I would personally immediately go after a Bucky. I would immediately go after a rookie like Harvey. I would go after Hendy. I go after players like a cross position Garrett Wilson. Maybe a London might make some sense. Like all these players, I'm going after these guys for Barkley. And if I can't get that, then I would resort to something along the lines of, again, if I can't get Bucky, I can't get Garrett Wilson, I would look into Marvin Harrison Jr. I would look into maybe trying to get Rashee Rice and something. I'd look into trying to get one of these rookie running backs I love so mother freaking much. This is what I'm truly trying to go for. If I'm trying to replace Bark, not go across position and get a wide receiver, not to go get Rice and something, if you can even do that in some context. Some leagues, you won't be able to even do that. Some leagues, you can get Rice and more. Just understand that it's not an easy translation from one person's situation and one person's league and one person's group of friends and your grandma and your Aunt Edna and a bunch of sharks in another league. It's not all something you could just compare. But if I'm not trying to go across position and get crafty, I'm going after the replacement. I'm going after a guy that's giving me 5 to 6 years. I don't care if he's 24 years old. He's going to have a 5 to 6 to 7 year shelf life. And even if he just plays 6 years, that's 29 years of age. With low mileage at 24, he can easily make it to 29. It's a whole different, unique situation than trying to judge a kid is 21, 22, going all the way to 29. Not going to happen. That's why running backs don't last at 29, because they usually get an early start. Whereas at 24, Harvey's going to get to 29 very easily. So give me 5-6 years of elite production. That's amazing in Dynasty. I'm not scared of the age at all. And I think his age is a red flag, which gives you an opportunity to say, red flag for red flag. What do you say? Straight up. your Harvey for my Barkley. Let's do it live. Oh, you need a second or third rounder? I don't care about that. Kick rock second rounder. I don't care. F them second round picks or third round picks. Harvey to the moon. This is where I say you are straight up winning if you get this type of move done. You might need to give up a little bit more. Let's take Harvey off the board. Let's take Rashee Rice off the board. And let's go back to having a scenario where how do you get a player that's better than Barkley right now in Dynasty? I'm not saying better than Barkley 2024 in the production he brought. I'm saying Dynasty value. How do you get a player that is ranked higher like Bucky? And this sometimes is the most obvious way to go get a player. You try and take Barkley and upgrade him. Your thinking is, no, wait a minute, upgrade him. I can barely get rid of him. That's where you're wrong. Adding a first rounder, adding multiple second rounders, adding potentially a quarterback because you were smart enough to draft, like I always tell people, multiple quarterbacks. You got yourself a JD5 and a Burrow. You got yourself a JD5 and a Kyler. You got yourself JD5 and Bo Nix. You're in a surplus at QB in a 1 QB setting. This is not obviously super flex we're talking about here in this specific example, but you can now use that leverage to try and get this person to say, okay, all of the onus isn't going on Barkley. If I do trade a questionable Bucky in this person's mind, hopefully there's a red flag here. You know, Liam Cohen's gone. The workload divide. Is he really the real deal? Is he a one-hit wonder? I'm a little concerned about that. I'm a concerned Caleb and I own Bucky. And then you say, hey, you need a quarterback. I got Bo Nix. How about Bo Nix? And I don't like getting rid of Bo Nix. Don't get me wrong. I love Bo Nix. But this is one of those moves where the surplus that you took great pride in accruing now becomes useful for you to build up your lineup and to repair your situation. Keep in mind that Barkley might be entering the year that Christian McCaffrey was entering last year. I traded Christian McCaffrey before the season started last year, as he was one of my biggest avoids of all 2024, and boy did we nail that. But as one of my biggest avoids, I got rid of him while it still seemed like he had 2 or 3 years left, and everybody was like, he's different. He's different. Look at Henry. Christian McCaffrey will be different too. You can never make that mistake. You can't do it. You can't try and compare Henry to anybody. Henry's his own monster. It's not comparable. It's not transferable. CMC was a huge risk, as Barkley is at this moment in time in Dynasty, because he had 430 plus carries last year, 470 plus total touches last year. This is the time to go get Bucky. And if you got to give up something, do it. If you got a surplus in QBs, do it. You got George Kittle, and they can give you back a tight end that you like. You got an extra tight end that might make sense for this scenario, you do it. You got second rounders galore, you do it. You got a late first rounder and they got an early second rounder. You can make that perceived drop in value when at the end of the day it could be a 2 or 3 pick difference. If you think their team isn't going to be as good as everyone else's, even though they're getting an additional player, Barkley falls off, the pick becomes gold, right? Because their biggest asset might fall off. That's the whole bet you're making here on their second rounder versus your first rounder. At the end of the day, I'm doing that kind of stuff all day long. Give me Bucky. Other players that make a lot of sense in a you're gonna upgrade into the player. I did last year. I traded CMC. I was getting to that and I got sidetracked. I traded CMC for Achane and DK Metcalf, and on my own live stream, in my own chat, it was mixed. People weren't sure if they loved it. They didn't think I took them to the cleaners on it. I'm thinking, going, I just got rid of Christian McCaffrey before his fall off happened, and I got Achane and DK. Boy, did that trade look good after the fact. So I don't know if you could still get Achane. This will be winning, obviously. Now, do you have to give up more to get it done? Probably, which is crazy when you think about it, because I just got rid of last offseason CMC and got Achane and DK. But I think you explore this. You'll probably be able to do this 1-for-1 in some formats. You probably won't be in other formats. Again, my Harvey move is an attractive move. I think this is also a pretty decent maneuver. If you could get, now you have to get more. Understand what I'm saying. You have to get more, but I still believe in Breece Hall. The fact that Breece Hall has 4th round value in redraft means he can't have 4th round value or the same 4th round value in Dynasty. It's going to be later, because if people doubt him in redraft, then most certainly doubt him in Dynasty. So this is one of those scenarios where this person's got a surplus at QB, and maybe you can go get a Patrick Mahomes and Breece Hall for Barkley and a second, or Barkley and a quarterback that you have that is, maybe slightly below Mahomes or close to even in this person's mind. Let's say you had Caleb Williams and you can convince them to take Caleb Williams, who I haven't even made a card for. That's how not important Caleb is in my mind. I don't even have a Caleb Williams card. Let me go find Caleb Williams. How disrespectful, huh? Let's see if I have a graphic for him. Did I at least give him that respect? I think I did. Okay, so Caleb doesn't even have a card. He's on credit. He's on layaway. So Caleb and Barkley for Mahomes and Hall. Some might not like that from a redraft perspective, but this is Dynasty. This is a Dynasty move. I'm going to put the winning coin over on this side. And let's say it wasn't Hall. Like, we'll go get another player. I think very similar argument, maybe one that you guys will actually like more if you are a Hall doubter, that is you go get, again, Bucky would be beautiful. It would be perfect for this situation. Achane would be great as well. I'm looking around. Harvey would be fantastic, of course. Kyron's even intriguing, especially if you can get Jarquez Hunter, who will most certainly be his backup. Like, this is the kind of move I would make. Even though Kyron, does Kyron have a lot longer than Barkley? Could Barkley have as long as Kyron? Sure. But this would be a move I'd still consider, honestly, to get the Mahomes piece. This is me. Not everybody loves Mahomes, and that's fine. I get it. Not everybody loves Kyron, but you want to get Jarquez Hunter. But I think going to the rookies makes the most sense to me. Let me get Harvey back in the mix here. This would be, again, I circle back to Harvey. A lot of the answers that I have revolve around Harvey. This would be my ultimate winner. You go get Mahomes and Harvey for Barkley and Caleb, or whatever other quarterback you might have that is lesser than Mahomes. This would be an amazing way to deal Saquon Barkley. So good questions. We'll create some sort of Patreon Q&A session that I can continue to deliver in this format. Some of the mailbag questions you guys might have. We do super chats all the time. I think it's fun to break it down from a different perspective with the mailbag type of setup on the poker board. So if you want to ask questions for the next one, I will put a message in the Patreon saying this is for the mailbag segment. Who's got a question they want answered? So if you want your questions answered, it's only $10 a month, cancel anytime. Link in the description of the video, patreon.com/the Fantasy Football Show. And I'll see you all on the next one. Don't forget, I'm live Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern, every single Monday through Friday. Additionally, live whenever big news breaks. And additionally, live most every single midnight Eastern on the Graveyard After Dark show. And don't forget to check out thefantasyfootballshow.com for all your year-round rankings, trade calculators, bold predictions, articles, and more. Thefantasyfootballshow.com. See you on the next one, or probably in a little bit on a live stream.